student choice selected by vote for graduation speaker. We asked some of the students what were the qualities of Dr. Husseini that put him on the top of their list, and the logic was clear. Dr. Husseini was recognized as the only professor capable of running from his lectures from UNC to NC State 4 times a day to help students with their homework if needed, on foot. In addition to his passion for running 100-mile ultramarathons, he was recognized by the students as, quote, the only professor who could both outcode us and also kick our butts in a karate match. Notably, the students respected his extraordinary skill, both in teaching engineering as well as deconstructing the flawed physics in the Star Wars series. To sum it up another way, one of his students remarked, I chose Dr. Husseini to be our speaker because he is an exceptional and passionate teacher who cares deeply about all his students. He works hard to be on top of everything and does it all in his unique way. Surely it is this reason why Dr. Husseini was chosen as one of 3 recipients of the NC State Gertrude Cox Award for Innovative Excellence in Teaching and Learning with Technology. He is the only BME faculty member to have received this award, and the award represents the first time in 8 years that the College of Engineering has had a winner. Congratulations, Najee, and thank you for giving the undergraduate address here in 2019.
Thank you, Professor Dayton, for the introduction, and thanks to you students for giving me this opportunity to address you. Now, this address is geared towards you, even though I'm probably not going to look at you until the end. So pardon the backside that you're looking at, and let me give you a little bit of advice about how what you think you're about to do with your life is likely wrong. Speaking of wrong, last year I started my speech poorly by bad-mouthing the men's basketball teams. So instead, let me be positive this year. I'd like to personally welcome my wife, Professor Cole, a proud Auburn graduate.
There you go.
Also, I'd like to compliment NC State for competing in an invitation-only tournament. Not even Duke got invited to that one. So anyway, over the past 4 years, you've modeled trebuchets, shaken invisible hands, gauged strain, and regressed lines. And now, over the places you'll go, right? Start your new job. Rise through the ranks, become a manager. Retire with a pension at 65 from that same company. Or maybe go to med school. Finally start your private practice when you're 40. Light your grill with Benjamins for those Kobe steaks. And retire to your own private Gulf island. Or maybe instead go to grad school. Then a postdoc, another postdoc. Become a professor and elevate your panhandling game to the elite NIH level. And then never really retire but hang around the university as an emeritus. As BME students, we have trained you to excel at all of those careers, and we genuinely hope that you will follow those trajectories. But ask the adults later, today, if their lives followed one of those simple paths. If only it were that easy. Did you know, as you probably do, that the average US worker changes careers 5 to 7 times? It's unlikely that you'll stay with that company for 50 years. Medicine is changing, and many surgeries are moving out of local hospitals to major centers. And robotic surgery may require more video game skills than traditional surgery skills. But Mom, I'm not playing Fortnite, it's med school homework. Try it, it might work. Academia itself is changing, and you may not even be able to get tenure or funding. And my teaching job could suddenly be replaced by adjuncts or via online courses taught at another university. Your perfect 50-year plan that you anticipate from this point may be as useless as being the world champion in centaur dressage. So what do you do instead? Well, to paraphrase noted Scottish poet and anti-prognosticator Robert Burns in the poem To a Mouse, the best laid plans of mice and people often go awry. If you want the Scottish version that you can't understand, ask Kenny sometime. But to translate what this means is life is a stochastic process. It's random. And as you know from possibly my stats class, extrapolation beyond this point is always risky. Extrapolation is based off of prior data and assumed future conditions. You are graduating now because we believe that you have a strong foundation. And as your faculty, we believe we have the proper prior data to anticipate great things from you. However, the farther from graduation, the more chaotic and unpredictable your life will be. Maybe it will follow that happy trend line straight up into the stratosphere, but it won't. There are a lot of topics to talk about, but I feel that 3 factors guide your life, and this will be speaking from my own experience. The first is preparing for opportunities. You've been doing that. Don't stop now. Don't stop preparing because you don't know what's coming. The second is recognizing opportunities. You might get a chance. There may be an opportunity, but if you don't know it's there, it's useless. The final factor, unfortunately, is the sine qua non of life. Luck. Luck is neither intrinsically good nor bad. You will have good luck, and you will have bad luck. And they are hard to tell apart sometimes until after the fact. Hopefully through preparation and recognition, you can make your own good luck when it's not there, but that's not often possible. While the plural of anecdote is not data, let me nevertheless retell 2 anecdotes as data that illustrate how preparation, recognition, and fortune can lead to unanticipated successes in your life. I hope you students that took my stats classes say something to the effect of, "That's totes bad stats, YOLO, professor." But remember that in medical studies, n equals 2 sometimes gets published still. So let's work with that n equals 2. In my own case, my PhD is in physics. And I love physics. Just ask anybody that's had to suffer through a movie with me at the stuff that I go into with physics. They prepared me for the fundamentals of everything. And they said, once I release you out into the world, job opportunities will fly to you like pre-meds to extra credit. So I was prepared for nearly any opportunity, as I was told at graduation. After following Professor Cole to this area without a job secured, companies instead were as interested in me as all of you when I digress about bad science and Star Wars. Let's have a few examples. Starships don't bank in vacuums. There's no air resistance. What's the deal with these planar shockwaves from exploding planets and Death Stars? They're spherical. And Darth Vader, he gets me thinking, because does he measure his force powers in pounds or newtons? Probably pounds, because those are the imperial units. And then more of a dilemma, force powers doesn't make any sense. Force is a force, power is a different type of units. But what's the big deal, right? So these are things that come up. And why I'm not always the most popular person at movies, sorry. Anyhow, I did move to this area, as I mentioned, without a job secured, and I was unemployed and bored for 4 months. I digitized pictures and videos. I sorted through family albums. I did all of those things. I got good at cooking. I started running, eventually leading to stupid 100-mile races. But I wasn't satisfied because I had prepared my whole life to go into something scientific or engineering related. And at the time without a kid, there was nothing to keep my focus. I applied to all of the physics, materials physics, and semiconductor-related industries that I had prepared for. Nothing. Even my fellow physicists at the local universities, who can explain thermionic emission in tungsten filaments but can't change a light bulb, repeatedly turned me down. Then, right around Christmas of that year, Dr. Carty emailed the BME faculty desperate for an instructor for BME 342, a solid mechanics class. Professor Peter Menti, an institution in biomechanics and teaching at NC State, was seriously ill, and his replacement for the spring semester had just taken a full-time job elsewhere. Dr. Carty probably just needed a warm body to lecture for a semester, and I reached that temperature threshold. From North Carolina, I spoke with Dr. Carty by phone while she was in Mississippi refreshing her southern accent at an astrophysiology conference. Over time, Dr. Carty became more of a Dr. Phil, telling me, yeah, I'll be okay, don't worry, yeah, the class might be lousy, but it's better than teaching it in mechanical engineering, they're obviously worse than our BME. So I got a lot of talking to, and even though this was a golden opportunity, looking me square in the face, I was vacillating. Eventually, fortunately, she convinced me to consider teaching this solid mechanics class. Peter Menti's notes were in his office on campus, and because it was winter break, I couldn't get in there to review them. I finally did get into his office on a Friday in January. I looked at his scattered notes in his filing cabinets, I pulled some disorganized files off of his computer, and I quickly realized that I knew about 10% of the material in this class. 3 days later, I was teaching the class that 2 weeks ago I had not known existed. This opportunity that I took, unprepared, went well enough that even when a full-time job was created for somebody else in this department, I still managed to sneak in and get that job, and here I am at this point. Biomedical engineering. If anybody had told me biomedical engineering, I'd have laughed at you at graduation because I was destined for semiconductors. The last bio class I took was in high school in 1997. That's old, right? You're not even born, but it's not even there. Now, before anybody says anything, I'm still the youngest person in this front row of the stage. I think Dr. Dayton has had his turn signal on since 97. Anyway, reflecting upon this chance in my life, in hindsight, the 3 factors I mentioned got me into this job. The first was chance. I mentioned it's neither good nor bad. And in this case, from a tragedy came an opportunity for me. Full-time university teaching positions at top-tier universities like these are tough to find. I got my foot into the door with an initial part-time job and was able to gain valuable experience, lines on my resume, and references. I was lucky, I know it. But, like a lightsaber, it can't contain plasma that way. Luck cuts both ways. Understand that there are some things that are out of your control and focus instead on what you can control. As for the second factor, I was prepared. Even coming from a different field. You call it statics and dynamics, I call it Newton's laws. You just keep adding stuff until it adds up to 0. You call it electromyography, I call it a noisy signal from a bad power source. Same concept, different application. Just because your degree is in biomedical engineering doesn't mean that other disciplines are off limits. A lot of your senior design projects involved identifying a problem in medicine and applying sometimes simple solutions from other engineering disciplines. As Dr. Emeritus Andrew DeMeo often said, you are the most versatile type of engineer. However, if you don't believe that of yourself, then you are the strawberry huller of the engineering world. You are versatile and prepared for any field. Embrace it and embody it, otherwise it's not true. You wouldn't be sitting in those stodgy 12th century clerical robes if we did not believe this versatility of you. Finally, the third factor, I was generously and fortunate that I had help from Dr. Cole and Dr. Carty to recognize this opportunity. Do better than me and jump at a chance when you're given. Nobody will come after you unless you are truly remarkable. And unfortunately, there is no such thing as a perfect job. So stop waiting, or you will be paralyzed by indecision and never have a career. Always be waiting. Waiting for what? It's not there. My second anecdote is shorter and more remarkable. Karel Husa was born in Prague in 1921 and destined to be a civil engineer. He cobbled a few shoes at his family's shoe store, played some violin, competed in handball, but probably realized that these were not his destined careers. In October of his first semester in engineering school, on the Czechoslovak Independence Day, many students and civilians demonstrated against the Nazi occupation, culminating in Jan Opletal, a medical student, being mortally wounded. A month later, during Opletal's funeral, several thousand students rioted against political malfeasance, as students are often still wont to do. Thousands of students were arrested, 9 were executed, and more than 1,000 were sent to concentration camps. The Nazi administrators reacted by immediately closing all of those Czech colleges and universities that caused them trouble, scuttling Husa's career plan. Luck number 1. Now that he was out of school, he received orders to board a train to work in a munitions factory in Dresden. Any student of history or Kurt Vonnegut knows how this could have ended. Foolishly and thankfully, he did not board that train. So the SS agent came again and said he'd best not miss that second train. Ignoring such orders from the SS was something only fools do. Luck number 2. After luck comes preparation. How was he prepared? I mentioned that Husa had taken violin lessons, and on the side he had sketched a few pieces. The only school still open in Prague was the Music Conservatory, so he recognized the opportunity to evade the Nazis and a future firebombing and enrolled in a music composition program. More than 10 honorary PhDs later, Cornell University and Ithaca College professorships, commissions from major orchestras, and uncountable prizes, including a Pulitzer Prize, I think things worked quite well for my grandfather. He joked that he would have been a wretched civil engineer. His bridges would have collapsed under the Soviet tanks in 1968 and saved the Czechoslovakia, but maybe that was bad luck for him that he wasn't a civil engineer. However, he did make something out of this opportunity. So there you have it. This is the best personal advice I can give you. I've tried to avoid some of the trite bromides that you may hear in other contexts. Again, not anything against you people that might speak later. And incidentally, I know that you're all engineers on the stage because you heard trite bromides. Why is he talking about bromine ions rather than the definition of bromide as commonplace remarks? So there it is. I've given you 3 possible courses for your life. Option number 1, the jejune, milk toast, GRE word, everything works as planned route. Unlikely, as I've told you. Something will change that. Option number 2, your life zigzags. But by adequately preparing yourself and recognizing these deviations, you guide yourself forward like a canoe when my wife is paddling, and not in the high amplitude sine waves like when I am. Throw in a little luck here and there for some excitement. Option number 3, something major happens that upends your life. This could be your company going bankrupt, a family emergency, invading armies, or even deciding that you hate biomedical engineering and should have been a social media influencer like a good millennial. With the proper preparation and mindset, you can still be successful given any of these conditions. On the subject of quantum mechanics and not theology, Albert Einstein famously said God does not play dice. He could not accept some of the random aspects of quantum mechanics, even though he was like a smart person. Random aspects of our own lives are just as difficult to accept, even though they happen. The late Stephen Hawking played on this quote when talking about black holes. Not only does God definitely play dice, but he sometimes confuses us by throwing them where they cannot be seen. Accept that the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune will fly, and realize you can't always understand why they happened, or even if they're good or bad. But if you play your dice right from this point on, in expectation of something unexpected, then you will succeed, whatever that might be, wherever that might be, and however that might be. Congratulations, B&E graduates. Go out and do great things. Stay in touch. We will miss you all.